Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Big Three. In this season of giving, I'm right here in my backdrop enjoying just Christmas and getting the season, setting the tone for my family with food and decorations. And tomorrow is just going to be like a bake fest. I'm going to hang out for a little bit and play some music until everyone gets in here. But setting the tone for the season. So I'm going to play one of my favorite songs. It's not a Christmas carol, but it has a nice energy and it has my name in it. So it's going to be like a little theme song for today. It sets the tone for appreciating the season and appreciating you for joining me on the live today. It's by Kirk Franklin. This is the remix. Melodies from heaven, rain down on me, rain down on me. Take me in your arms and hold me close, rain down on me. I pray that blessings rain down on you today. Fill me with your precious Holy Ghost. Everybody say, rain down on me. Rain down on me. Take it out. Melodies, melodies from heaven. Hey. Rain down on me. Rain down on me. Hey. Melodies from heaven. Hey. Rain down on me. Sing it with us. Rain down on me. Take me in your arms and hold me close. Rain down on me, rain down on me. Fill me with your precious Holy Ghost. Rain down on me, rain down on me. Come on, Mike. Rain. Rain. Yeah. Rain. Oh, man. Rain. Hey, welcome, get in here. Hey. Wait a minute. Wait. All right. That was the remix to Melodies from Heaven. And in the spirit of giving, in the season of giving, I'm going to share with you 3 gifts that I give to my clients on every event, every client, all year round. And I give it freely. My name is Melody Dixon, and I'm the CEO and founder of Pro Event Planners, creating fabulous events on any budget. Foundation for what I do stems from my degree in hospitality, degree in business administration, many years of working for big brands like the Marriott, the Hilton, the Sheraton, and the DoubleTree. I've served major companies like Miami-Dade Schools, TGI Fridays, Danneman Cigars. How I help them is I find out what they're looking for, what their goals are for the event, create a budget around that, and help them manage to spend by finding the right venue, hiring the right vendors, being strategic with the staff that I hire, bring it all together, freeing them up to go ahead and launch their new product, launch their new business, train their staff, or celebrate their wins. My clients really appreciate the fact that when they talk to me, I listen to what they're not saying, execute on that, and blow their minds. #happy clients. So, on the note of happy clients, I'm going to share with you 3 gifts that I give these clients. And I do this whether it's a small event, large event, at a conference center or at your house. It's an even playing field. As long as you hire pro event planners, you get these gifts. And these gifts are based a little bit on spirituality and psychology. And psychology is just a scientific study of humans, how their minds function, and why they react to the things that they do. I take this insight that I gather from that and I use it to make the right decisions when speaking to them or executing on their event for them or solving their problems. With that in mind, I use that to kind of temper and color the way that I interact with them. Because as a person who's serving someone, you kind of want to meet them where they are on a positive level. And I'll elaborate why I stress meet where they are, because it matters how people come to you because they're stressed out. They're stressed out, they're tired, they need your help. They need the help of an event planner or a plumber. Here's an example. If a plumber goes to a house, the kitchen sink is squirting water everywhere. The mom has a baby on her hip. She has a toddler at her feet and she's pregnant. The house is a mess and she's like trying to quiet everybody down while the house is being flooded. Of course, she's not going to want to have the time, or probably can't mentally manage the time, the stress of listening to the fine print of how you're gonna fix it, what tools are needed, where you went to school. She just wants it fixed. Fix it. Let the cleaning people come, clean it, or she'll have to put the baby down, get down on her knees and clean it herself. She just wants it fixed. No explanation, just hire it done. And so as a company going in to help someone, you kind of have to have that vision of what's going on in the environment so you can navigate through that. All right? So the first gift I'm going to share with you is called deep listening or compassionate listening. And I learned this many years ago from a monk. His name is Thich Nhat Hanh. He's been around since the 1930s. He's, rest in peace. He died in November. I think it was November 8th, last November. And I didn't really kind of connect what I learned from him to how I ran my business until I was in this brand accelerator course with Faith James, and we had an assignment. I'm like, my customers need to know the intention that I put behind serving them. And this is one of the ways that I separate myself from other event planners, because anyone can do a backdrop with flowers. Anyone can do a coordinating Christmas tree to go with a backdrop. But what sets me apart from, design ideas, is service. So I'm going to explain what deep listening means. And this is just an opportunity for the professional person to listen to the customer and give them the opportunity to pour out how they need help from you. Pour out what's on their heart as far as what the challenge is and why they came to you in the first place. If you listen to them with the intention of, that's an aisle B, second product down from the right, without even giving them the chance to finish, then they're going to know that you're not listening to them, really listening, and you're just trying to sell them something without hearing the scope of the problem and giving them the chance to express it the way they want to express it. And then, if you can, you honestly provide them a solution from a place of understanding. So I'm going to give an example of what happened to me during a wedding. So there was a bride a few years ago. Yeah, a few years ago, and she was with her boyfriend for like 23 years. They lived together, had a couple of children, and they just didn't get married as yet. So finally, he proposed, and she felt like it's about time. You know, she's a nurse, she's tired, she's a mom. And so this wedding day was a chance for her to get what she needed, which was significance, more than just being the person who takes care of people when they're sick, clean the house, cook the food, do the grocery, be the mom, all that. She was getting to be the star of the show that day. And she desperately needed that in her life to kind of feel good, which is, you know, most people, they do things in order to feel good. And this was one of the things she wanted to do. She wanted to be validated by, you know, having him come out in front of family and friends and say the vows. And she wanted the dress and the limo and all that. And so have a very special day for her, which she is, of course, deserving of. So that was her backstory. So when she came to me and wanted a butterfly beach wedding, and why butterflies were significant for her and how she wanted it to be, we set about just making it very special. Butterflies on the cake and a swarm going up, on the napkin ring, on the sand ceremony table, the overlay had butterflies on it, not in the fabric, but like 3D butterflies. So it was visually moving and swaying in the wind and all that. And so she also, at the point of saying the vows, wanted to release butterflies. So I secured a vendor. I met with him. He trained me on how to manage the butterflies, explained how they'd be packaged, what time we should release it, what's the right environment to release it so that the butterflies can fly away and get back into nature. He did caution, if you wait too late in the evenings, the butterflies kind of go to sleep, they, you know, find safety for the night. And if it's too late and it gets too windy, they will not fly. So I took the information, the pamphlet, I opened up the brochure and went down each side and explained. Ceremony starts at 3:30. Once you get to the beach, have until 4 o'clock to get the ceremony started. By 4:15, 4:20, release, and the butterflies should be fine. Well, the bride didn't show up until 4:30. She got to the beach area, which was maybe 30 feet away from where the limo stopped. She took an hour from limo to the sand where the ceremony was happening. And so minister was doing his thing, not a dry eye, and then vows were said. It was time to release the butterflies. And I said to her, actually, before she went on the sand, I said, we really should get to the sand because remember, the butterflies go to sleep, in the right environment, you know, they could die, so on and so forth. I reminded her at the limo. Still delayed, got to the beach, opened the butterflies, they plopped right down on the sand, and there was like an audible gasp of horror. I think it came from me. So we picked up the butterflies that we could and put them in a tree, but there was absolutely nothing I could do at that point. And I understood why she delayed, because she probably felt like this was her last chance to get the scope of the attention that a wedding gives to the bride, and that her life outside of that is not giving that to her. So even though the butterflies could possibly die, it wasn't that much of a concern because they needed to, well, she needed to do what she wanted to do because she wanted to feel good. And from her backstory, I understood completely. Did I agree with continuing with the release of the butterflies? Absolutely not. But it was done. And what could I do? Serve her to the best of my knowledge. And at the end of the wedding, when I followed up with her, they came back from the honeymoon and everything, she was upset that the butterflies didn't fly. So I promptly reminded her of the training that I went through, that I put her through as far as releasing of the butterflies, the right time, the right conditions and all that stuff, and the wind from the beach and the late evening and the, you know. So even though she was mad, she still referred people to me, which I appreciated. So to me, she got her moment and she realized that she could have made another choice, and she wasn't mad at me per se, like Melody. So it's part of the job. So another and that's her motivation, is significance. She wanted to feel good. She wanted to get the attention. Another thing that deep listening and compassionate listening brings to light is if someone is motivated by significance. That means they want to be sure that something is going to happen. Like if I have a red and white balloon backdrop, I want to be sure I have red balloons on there. And that's the only thing that's going to make me feel good, because I'm motivated by significance. Not significance, but certainty. I want to make sure there's a red tablecloth or a red rose in the napkin to go with the color scheme. And I will do everything, order it on time, check with the supplier, all those things to make sure. That's what certainty means. And my corporate clients often are motivated by certainty. I'm going to give you an example. A few years ago, I worked with a cigar company, and they were turning 150 years old. It was a family business. And at this point, they had locations all over the world: Australia, Sweden, Belgium, Chile, Brazil, the US, Spain, France, all over. And they needed to celebrate this day, and the theme was "We Are Family," with the "We Are Family." That was the theme song. That was the theme of the whole event. And my client, which was the assistant to the owner of the company, wanted to make sure that all the companies around the world were celebrating, in essence, at the same time. And they wanted to stream the parties of each location at every event. So we were working with people all over the world, and they had screens at their events that displayed almost a Facebook kind of extranet. So you could take pictures and post and hearts and emojis and show the dancing and all that. So it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to put it together the right way, the right tech, the right vendors, because we also converted their warehouse into a large family dining room. And that meant bringing in a tent draping, event furniture, 3 different rooms, AC units. It was a big project. And so she wanted to make certain that everything was executed flawlessly and her bosses would be confident in her abilities. So we did that for her, and then some. She gave me an absolutely glowing review online. But what I made sure I did was I, complimented her in front of her boss that she was very organized. She had everything laid out. She knew exactly what she wanted, what brand products were placed around the room and how they should be placed, and we followed her lead and she was on it. So that's how my client was motivated by certainty, because the pressure, if she failed at this, she probably would have lost her job. So it was more important for her to get the elements of the event correct than being the star of the show. So the bride was motivated by significance, and my corporate client was motivated by certainty. Because we practice deep listening, which is just letting the person speak so you can hear what they're saying, watch your body language, and listen to the whole spiel, and then use that information to help them. The second gift is emotional intelligence. And this is where we're able to understand what the client is going through and monitor how we react to that. So I'm going to give you an example. So let's say there's a keynote coming to an event, and they prepared, they were stressed out, they stayed up late working on their speech. They emailed it to my audiovisual team, they have it covered. Because they stayed up late, they woke up late, they didn't set the alarm. They woke up late, they're flustered because they have to fly. They have to literally fly to the airport and fly to the destination. So they called the cab late, cab arrived at the time that wasn't appropriate for them. They got to the airport, missed the flight, had to wait for the next one. When they got to the destination, they had to take a cab from the airport to the venue, and they were just flustered, dragging luggage, sweating, heart racing, fear of missing the opportunity to present. As a planner, you look at all of that, because they're coming, they're going to be snipping and snarling and irritated. You're going to be like, look, I understand what you went through. I am here to help you. Take them to the green room. That's my son calling. Yeah. Take them to the green room, give them something to drink, and then stall for them so they can get themselves together. Being that I work with speakers all the time, I don't trust the fact that they're gonna bring their thumb drive and try to manage that on the day. I have them email everything to the audiovisual company. It's stored in the cloud. It's queued up, so when it's time to go on stage, all they have is their clicker and laser pointer, and they're good to go. Because what would be worse for this particular client is if when they're rushing from the airport, they get there, they're stressed out, they're sticking in the thumb drive, can't find the file, and they're just all over the place. So that's what I would do for that particular person. Understand where they're coming from and meet them where they are. I know you're late, I know you're stressed out. Come over here, let me take care of you. Here's something to drink. The audiovisual team already has your speech. All you have to do is freshen up a little bit, and we'll hand you the mic and you go on stage. A valuable tool, because life happens. Life is always happening, and you need to work with someone who understands that, who takes the time to listen to you, and then has a plan A, plan B to help you out. The third one is to listen to what is not said and executing on that. And that's called watching the body language. Facial expression, whether they're slouching or sitting up, whether if they're talking, they're like, let me tell you something, or they're, well, I demand, don't you know who I am? You're gonna have to be mindful of all these different things, the tones, posture, raising up the eyebrows, creasing up the forehead. All of that communicates to you as the person who's providing the service. And so we listen to that. We watch out for fear, anxiety, stress, or excitement, uncertainty. And based on that, we know what we need to do to go above and beyond for our customers. So like my corporate client from the company who was turning 150 years old, she was under a lot of pressure. And so what I did was I made sure her boss knew she was reliable, she was resourceful, she was decisive, she knew exactly what she wanted. She pointed us in the right direction, and she had the company's brand image ingrained in her head. She ingrained it in mine, and so we did product placement, we had the right colors, the right design elements, and so the event was amazing. But we listened to her, that this was so important for her to appear to be the person in front of her boss, that we made sure to mention to him how amazing she was. So those are the 3 elements, the 3 gifts we give to our clients every day, all day. As long as you book Pro Event Planners, you get deep listening, compassionate listening. We use our emotional intelligence to take care of you. And we listen to what you don't say, execute on that, and save the day. Let me know who you are. Any questions you have, just #replay and I'll answer you and explain to you anything. If you want to have a complimentary consultation, email me at info@myproeventplanners.com. Let's connect. I am on Facebook, of course, at My Pro Event Planners, Instagram, Melody D. Dixon, LinkedIn, Melody Dixon, Twitter, Pro Event Planner, YouTube at Pro Event Planners. Okay, I'll be here next week, Wednesday at 8 o'clock, where I'm going to share with you another big 3. Thank you for joining me, and have a good night.